And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today we're going to be recapping NFL action from this weekend with a ton of exciting games, especially the Chiefs losing to the Bills, the Chargers almost getting stormed back on by Joe Burrow, and plenty more to discuss. A little bit of a pat on the back for Joe, for Anthony Richardson looking pretty good. All that coming up and more. Before we get there, though, Sean, bet online.
Yeah, you would have made some money rolling with the fellas this week. Collective 5-1. One of us 3-0. One of us 2-1 with our bet online bets. Yeah, I'll let you decide.
Don't wait. Hold on. Hold.
I'll let you decide.
You ain't on my level,
bet
son.
Online.
You're not on my level. You're not on my level.
Hey, Joe, easy. Why don't you calm down over there with that street slang?
You're not on my level. Don't act like you're. I
was just mentioning.
Yeah, what are the full season totals?
I didn't want to bury the lead for the betting show and let people know who had the perfect week. So they'll figure out then.
Yeah, I think that they know who's always had the perfect week. That's like I've had 5 perfect weeks this year. 76%. What's the rest of the read?
Yeah, bet online. That's where you want to take these perfect picks. They got all the lines. I like taking them early in the week before they start messing around and doing the mess around and changing them up. But bet online, if you do appreciate the latest in-game odds, you can head there for them. If you don't like football and you're a loser, sit in your daddy's apartment watching baseball.
Bet online's not for you. Bet online's not for you. Get off of there.
They got NBA for you if you like posting winning NBA scores in week 2 of the NBA while the NFL's happening. Loser, hack, Rami. But you can do that, and you can find those lines there. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.
And they might have a line for you to bet on the after the game has already ended. Texans versus Cowboys. Texans are up 17-7 right now. So if anyone wants to bet on that after the game ended, you could probably do that as well.
You're a bad. I'm taking you to the hallway after this show. You're not getting out of here unscathed.
Daniel Jones has finally been benched. It is the main talking point that I would like to open up this conversation with very briefly, because I don't think that this is going to take very long. It is something because of sunk cost fallacy that has killed the Giants since they drafted him. 24, 44, and a whopping 1 tie in his career as the starter for the New York Giants. I don't think anyone's going to give him another starting opportunity, nor should they. We have discussed the problems with him and why it hasn't worked out. The guy just does not have the innate decision-making, and he started too many games for him to eventually figure it out. There's plenty of quarterbacks who've shown flashes and then eventually get that second opportunity and they learn how to play. That's not Daniel Jones. Now, as a Giants fan, I am just asking that Tommy DeVito, please, we are praying. Tommy DeVito, who is stepping in. Drew Lock's not going to start because they don't want to have to pay him any of his incentives, which is some nasty work. But Tommy DeVito, I am begging you, if you pull some bullshit and you come out here and win a bunch of games you're not supposed to, like last year, and we're picking 6, we're going to have a problem. I don't want to hear any Giants fans saying, like, well, how are you going to be upset over a win? I'm going to be upset over a win when there's 3 draftable quarterbacks in the top 10. There's 3. There's only 3. And some might argue that the 3 that are in this conversation, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jalen Milroe, we're not sure if he declares or not. We don't know for certain if all 3 of those guys are going to go on to be great starters. There's nothing that you're going to get after that. You're not going to be able to trade up. You're not going to be able to move out of the spot that you're currently sitting in. Tommy DeVito, you better not win a damn game the rest of the year. I don't want to see another victory. If that's defeatist, I don't give a shit. I want my team to go on to win. Look at what all these other teams that have good starting quarterbacks. Look what the New England Patriots are literally doing after we tried to call to trade up into that spot for Drake May. Don't let the mistake happen. Tommy, do your damn job, fall in line.
Yeah, unfortunately, they would have fallen in line if you guys had just stuck it out with Daniel Jones, because these are not a lot of winnable games.
Well, so the reason why, somebody pointed this out on Twitter, part of the reason why you don't start him is that if he gets hurt in the final stretch of the season, he's on the hook for a large portion of his contract.
Ah, gotcha.
So you kind of, this kind of does make sense, but you are right. Their best chance of losing out was Daniel Jones.
The Giants are on a 5-game skid. I'm still shocked that you had Jalen Milroe as a possible top 10 QB, but that's a top.
I would draft Jalen. Who do you think it was I was talking about as the third then?
I wasn't sure. I just
I
didn't
would
think
take
it was Milroe.
Jalen Milroe in a heartbeat.
Okay, you do that, pal. I'm
You
excited.
hate Jalen Milroe.
I don't hate Jalen Milroe, but it's going to be Jalen Milroe Jones in New York. Yeah, that's what you're going to be seeing.
He is a much better player than Daniel Jones is.
Oh, that is.
He's also gone to a playoff and won an SEC championship game. Daniel Jones was going to accounting class and losing at Duke.
Daniel Jones is an NFL playoff game winning quarterback, and you're going to have to accept that. But yeah,
Don't say those words ever
I'm
again.
letting you know the facts. The Giants could lose to the Cowboys. That's going to be tragic. Is that our Thanksgiving game?
It's a bad
that is-
Thanksgiving slate.
That is pissing me off more and more and more.
I want to say that the Lions.
It's the Lions Bears. They're going to crush the Bears, and then the night game I think is a dud.
Oh
also.
yeah, that's a Dolphins Packers. Why wouldn't the Lions play the Packers? Who scheduled this?
You know what? If you told me I was getting a beginning of the year, I would have been fired up for Lions, Bears, and Packers, Dolphins. Right now, it's looking like we're going 0-for-3 on Thanksgiving. The Giants
Get nice and liquored up and yell at your family.
The Giants will lose to the Saints. They will lose to the Ravens. They will beat Atlanta. They will lose to the Colts, and they might beat the Eagles while they're sitting all their starters in the final week of the season and put themselves at the 5 or 6 spot. So you really have a shot to screw yourself. But right now, you're in pretty good position with 2 wins on the year through 11 weeks. So I think you're really pacing well for how bad you want to be able to draft high. But you better get Cam Ward. That is the situation.
That is the ultimate goal. I don't know. I have a feeling that Deion Sanders, based on how bad the Giants have been since their last Super Bowl, is not going to give the yes to that. I would argue that he should considering that he'd have Malik Neighbors to throw to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a separate complex conversation, and we'll see what happens. Sean, the actual real games of this weekend, the Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21. One of the best plays of the season and quite possibly an MVP winning moment for Josh Allen is on 4th and 2, 2:26 remaining. The Bills, or Josh Allen has that long touchdown, and then the Bills pick off Mahomes on the next drive. It has been discussed by a lot of folks about that decision to go for it on 4th down. And I have to say, huge props to Sean McDermott doing something that nobody else has had the gall to do in a football game against the Chiefs. He is one of the few people that we have witnessed. I actually can't think of anyone who's done this where they've said, you know what? We know that if we give the Chiefs the ball back and we kick a field goal here and we give them a touchdown to come back in this game, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. Why don't we put the game in our freaking hands and go down, and we're going to trust the enormous behemoth Josh Allen to run the ball and to score, and he did it with such an emphasis. So credit to McDermott, credit to Josh Allen. Heck of a finish.
They've been there before, and that's why they know it. They're finally, they've set their ego aside and say, we can't allow this to happen. I would rather miss the 4th down and fail and have them go down and possibly beat me that way than to sit on my laurels on the sidelines and watch the inevitable happen, as it certainly could have. Josh Allen, it might really be the MVP year. I know there's some real weird discourse about him versus Lamar for the MVPs.
I think it's Josh Allen's. I think that play solidified it.
I think it's Josh Allen.
Talk about a guy who's doing less with more.
That is
more with less.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy who's doing more with less.
This is the best win of the NFL season. The Ravens have had some weird losses and that does not help Lamar's case. Right now, it's Josh Allen's. It's Josh Allen's league outside of Mahomes, obviously. It's his year. It was a stellar run. You saw the big ox pick up steam, and nobody could tackle him. It was spectacular. Did I think that the Chiefs were going to lose? No. I felt like they were this magical team of anti-destiny put on the corporate. I'm getting texts that the Chiefs are like a Hollywood plug. Like they're just a corporate team with no soul, and they're just a condo put up in the middle of town that just sticks out. But they got beat. It's nice to see, but now they beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to go back to the Super Bowl, or they beat the Bills rather. That's the only way it happens this year, Joe. I hate to call my shot now in Week 11, but when they meet back up, it's going to be a different. It's going to be a different story.
It should be the AFC Championship game. These two teams have been phenomenal, and to better put in perspective how significant of a win this was, the Chiefs had not lost since Christmas Day last year. And they also had not given up more than 28 points since 2 Super Bowls ago, which was a span of 30 games. That is freaking ridiculous. Jaguars, this is the complete opposite of a good football game. We had a lot of good football yesterday. This game was disgusting and ugly and putrid. 52-6 for the Lions. I don't think that we need to talk about any capability here, or not capability, any outcome for the Lions. We know what they are. We didn't learn anything new. The Jaguars, everything's fallen apart as bad as it could have fallen apart. They have the first overall pick again. There's a lot of question now why Doug Peterson has not been fired. Why is he still coaching? What do you get out of him still coaching when this team continues to fumble and bumble and get worse and worse? I want to add a fold in here that has become very spicy as of late. So last night, on the NBC pregame show, PFT, Mike Florio said that a belief in some circles that Jacksonville general manager Trent Baalke, who should get canned with Peterson, his future potentially hinges on a package deal that would bring in Bill Belichick to the team as the next head coach. Diana Rossini came out today of The Athletic saying that she has not heard anything of that potentially happening. Bill Belichick being the Jaguars coach, though, I can see the incentive for why he would want to take this over. It smells very similar to what is happening with Jim Harbaugh in the Los Angeles Chargers, where you've got a quarterback who wasn't playing to his potential in a roster that wasn't rallying around said quarterback. And we're going to get to the Chargers in a little bit, but when you bring together a team with a quarterback who's already developed and has been paid but needs to get unlocked a little bit, I think Trevor Lawrence would do great if they brought in
Belichick.
No. Who the hell was he was just the Raiders head coach, and he's been his offensive coordinator twice. Why am I blanking on his freaking he was the Broncos head coach?
Oh, Jesus.
We're supposed to know ball here.
Mix something. Oh, Jesus Christ. What am I talking about? Oh, he's such a shithead too. I know exactly. God.
Wow, we're bad at this. He was the coach literally last year. Josh McDaniels. Oh, wow.
Christ. Yeah, I know.
Why would I trust you to have it? I'm supposed to be the guy who's supposed to pull that info.
God.
But I could see the Trevor Lawrence doing well in a Josh McDaniels offense, the dink and dunk, matriculate the ball down the field, and Belichick rebuilding that defense that has a ton of pieces.
You know what? I think any team that has a possibility of bringing Bill Belichick, you could make the argument that it would be a sexy move. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are beneath Bill Belichick. I know Shad Khan is against firing coaches mid-season. I think that's the only reason Peterson's there. He also might be smart and let Peterson keep on coaching them into losses. But yeah, I don't want Bill Belichick coaching this team. This team is not going to make any noise. I don't know how many. You think Belichick's going to coach for 5 more years?
Wait. They went to the playoffs last year. This team has the bones and also a quarterback who is gone. Oh, no. They went to the playoffs 2 years ago. And then last year, Trevor Lawrence got hurt, and that's where the tumbling has occurred. They can be and have shown us that they could be a competent, competitive franchise. So why are you acting like that? This isn't the Browns.
I haven't seen any improvement for this team. I've seen regression and regression and regression. Same with Trevor Lawrence. You know what? Bill Belichick going there would be the only move where I would sit there and be like, oh, he's got another shot in this league, in my opinion. I am out on him as out can be. I'm willing to have my mind changed on that if he does go out and have some type of Pro Bowl year. But right now, I am so down
up on quarterbacks.
I'm so down on the Jaguars. Yeah, smart people do. I'm so down on the Jaguars that I really hope Bill Belichick goes somewhere exciting like Dallas. That would be fun for the NFL.
Oh, God, but that wouldn't be. They wouldn't get better. They would just be a mess because Jerry Jones is senile.
Oh, that team would be so fun.
He'd
have Micah playing tight end. It'd be awesome.
The Steelers had one of the best wins of the year with their victory over the Ravens and now hold the lead in the AFC North, 18-16 kicker battle. Justin Tucker couldn't get the job done. His career might be over. Fourth straight win for Russell Wilson since he took over. And the Steelers forced 3 turnovers and held the Ravens to only 2 touchdowns. That to me is what makes this performance so impressive, because you did that against a team that statistically was dominating most categories on offense, especially at running the football. You bottled up any rushing attack for the Ravens. This Steelers team, I don't think that there's a big separation gap between them and the Ravens. Not trying to paint that, but their defensive performance and Russell Wilson doing just enough and being steady enough and not putting the ball in adverse situations enough for them to win a close game like this against a top team, there is a legit conversation to be had of them being on the radar to compete for an AFC championship.
This is a nutty Steelers team. The defense is filled with killers. They are an absolute menace on defense. And I'll tell you why this Steelers team feels a lot different than that Steelers team that was like 11-0 or 7-0, whatever they were, with like Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky and that the rotating crew, and they're better than that team was when they were undefeated. Obviously, Steelers aren't undefeated, but I got way more faith in them this year, which is crazy to see. I can't believe that the Arthur Smith prophecy of just needing Russell Wilson is coming to fruition, that he is the quarterback that he always really wanted, and he's going to win a bunch of games with him. Oh, I thought I was sitting here at the beginning of the season saying that Justin Fields was twice the quarterback that Russell Wilson was in his advanced age of quarterbacking. No, I'm proved wrong. Wilson is playing well. He's doing good. He is a leader of this team. His corniness somehow fits the corniness of Pittsburgh fans. Take it as a compliment. You know, you're corny, but you travel well and you're very loud. But that's kind of Russell Wilson's bit. So it's all coming together in a very tough division. I mean, the Bengals are tough. The Ravens are very good, and the Steelers are just winning by playing just better top to bottom football. They don't have the most talent. They don't have the best running back. They don't have the best wide receiver or quarterback, but the entire team plays a better brand of football. So they're winning more games. Impressive to beat the Ravens. Huge game.
The Los Angeles Chargers have become one of the most entertaining teams to watch in football, because Jim Harbaugh has this team playing like Michigan did, and he's turning a roster that was lifeless last year into a dominant one. They were winning a lot of close games, and now they're starting to show what they can do on a week-to-week basis with their 34-27 win over the Bengals. Now, they had a big lead, and Justin Herbert had an amazing first half. And Chris Sims made a comment in the halftime show and talking about how he's super high on the Chargers after the way that they played in the first half, and saying that he thinks they're a top 5 team. I forget exactly what he said. And he pointed out, I hope I don't turn myself into a meme and the Bengals don't come back in this. Well, the Bengals did come back in this because Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks at putting together clutch performances. This is their 6th one-score loss this season. They weren't able to pull it out. What I like about this Chargers team, Sean, is that Justin Herbert is taking the chances necessary for them to stretch the field. And the thing I love even more is Quentin Johnston, that every loser and idiot, again, I am anti calling a career on a young player before they have gotten the opportunity to shine and being placed in the right situations to succeed. Quentin Johnston made a bunch of big plays and has gotten better on a week-to-week basis and is turning into their go-to primary option within this offense. This Charger team is exciting. They're good, and they feel like that they fit the exact mentality that Jim Harbaugh brings to his teams.
Yeah, it's immediate. Like the Chargers this year drafted better than they had in previous years. The Joe Alt pick has paid off already. Lad McConkey has been a stud. He had 6 for 123 last night. I like that Herbert is taking more chances. I like that Herbert running the ball. It doesn't seem to be out of, oh my God, the pocket is collapsing on me and I had to break 2 tackles to get 3 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. No, the big horse is running, and I like it. He's striding. He had 65 rush yards.
Yeah.
He had last night. He had a fumble. That wasn't great. But he seems more confident. He seems like he's finally taking a next step. And I know the jokes have been he's passing the torch of the if man to Joe Burrow. But I mean, I'm not giving up on Cincinnati either. 4-7 for this team. How well they've been playing. It doesn't scare me. I could see them. They're maybe the only 4-7 team in the league I could see going on a run and actually sneaking into the playoffs because they get super hot. I mean, Higgins and Jamar Chase are playing up to expectation. Burrow's playing out of his mind, and they found the running back for the year in Chase Brown. So this offense is rolling. They've been hit with the buzzsaw. You lost to a hot Chargers team that put 24 on you in the first half. It's tough when your defense doesn't wake up when your offense has been awake the entire year. But geez, what a fantastic Sunday night football game. I love that we're hitting the full stride. Enjoy it, people. This is the thick of it. This is when you're really supposed to be taking in the most football content that you can. Watch the podcast, watch the replays of the game, do everything you can. It's going to be gone before you know it.
Now, I'm not going to be an idiot to sit here and take a victory lap on Anthony Richardson because that would be way too soon. Just like anyone who is taking a victory lap on Anthony Richardson for the poor start to the season that he had, it would be extremely premature. But I just would like to bring up that Richardson comes back after sitting for multiple weeks and Joe Flacco laying an absolute stinker with the way that he played in their previous game. 28-27 against a lifeless Jets team that has good defensive players but is not playing anywhere near its potential. Richardson finishes 20 of 30, 272 yards and a touchdown. But more importantly, we saw for the stats don't really paint the picture. We saw a more confident Anthony Richardson. We saw in Anthony Richardson what he can be at his, not at his ceiling, but when he's playing better football. Like that is 60% of what he can be. That is the good starting quarterback version of Anthony Richardson. And that's what I have been asking for and wanting from him. I don't expect him to play to that true potential where he could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's got all the physical tools. I felt like what was maybe holding him back is one, Steichen thinking that if they just called everything the right way, that could transform him into this premier player. And it also felt like there were a lot of expectations on Richardson's shoulders, and he was constantly trying to do too much. But what we got to get out of this game is him playing well enough to help his team win the football game. When the run game wasn't going as effectively as it could, he did and made really impressive plays while he had pressure bearing down on him. That's the version he can be, and I continue to get excited. This could totally fall apart. It 1,000% could fall apart. But I think this feeds into what I was just trying to say weeks ago, that trying to claim that there is no recoverability for Anthony Richardson was way too premature to say.
It was likely his best game as a pro. I think that him realizing, hey, man, I got benched. I might get benched again in my career. What do I have to lose now? And it looked like that's how he was playing. It was more relaxed. He seemed less jittery. He seemed smoother. His decisions in the pocket seemed more decisive. I liked it. I liked what I saw from Anthony Richardson, and he wasn't doing dumb stuff. When he was running in for touchdowns from 2 yards out. Yeah, you ran over a defensive back. I don't love it, but if that's the pretenses where he's the defensive backs don't have a ton of runway speed to go up and take out a knee or something like that, I like it. Just run through someone's face when they're standing still. He can do that. He will continue to do that. It was a big game for him. He stepped up. The Jets suck. The Jets are awful. They're a dead body. You played a cadaver, all of it, but sometimes you need to play a cadaver to get right again. I mean, look what happened with Bryce Young. He seems more confident than ever. All he had to do is play the Giants.
Well, but same thing could be said for Bo Nix, who he gets the opportunity to shine against the Atlanta Falcons. And he gets to show and say hey to everybody who called him a bust before his career even started. In all seriousness, I'm just throwing a little bit of shade there at the Falcons, but Bo Nix had been one of the most wronged quarterbacks in the past decade before he took a single snap. He felt like he was definitely drafted a little too high for most people's likings. But a lot of people tried to write this kid off before. Actually, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's like a year younger than me. This guy, before he was able to get his career even going. 28-33 for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns in their win over the Falcons. And their defense played phenomenally. One thing has been affirmed that everybody crapped on and pushed away this offseason. Bo Nix is the perfect quarterback for Sean Payton's offense. And this is the rhythm that they're playing in. That is not a walkover defense and a walkover franchise in Atlanta that should be winning the NFC South. This is not Anthony Richardson beating the Jets. This is you throwing for 4 touchdowns and showing that great decision-making. Is he stretching the field and attacking downfield often? No, not really. But is he doing what's called upon him to be within Payton's offense? Absolutely. Bo Nix deserves more credit. I don't think he wins the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He's probably not going to be, as Jane Daniels has been so spectacular, but he should be more highly recognized as that second guy in the race.
I go back to everyone like taking these weird victory laps in the first 4 weeks when Bo Nix had a weird throw. And like why? Why are you?
And him, didn't he also get there was a whole bit where he was yelling at Sean Payton and everyone's like, oh, that's meant to be.
Yeah, no, I think Sean Payton said, this guy's going to work for me, draft him. And this guy's working for him, and they drafted him. And look, here's the sick truth about this game. Bo Nix had the cleanest pockets I've ever seen in my life in an NFL football game. I think Joe DeLeone could have suited up in that orange and navy and gone out.
Screw yourself.
You could have thrown 150 and 2 against that Falcons defense. You really could have, because there's no pressure. It was a lifeless defense, and they left the middle wide open. Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too low of numbers for you and your big arm? Give me a break. I've seen your footwork.
The opposite. Don't use me for your example.
I'm saying Bo Nix did a very good job. He carved up the middle of the defense, really good in breaking routes, 10, 15 yards down the field. And he's got no one to throw to. He's got Cortland Sutton and a bunch of practice squad guys. That's the truth. Guys whose names you've never heard before. And he's playing confidently. He's making the right decisions. It feels like he's getting in the groove of an NFL situation, an NFL offense, which is exactly what you want to see. They're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Probably they're not going to win a playoff game this year because there's going to be some defenses that they meet later on in the season. They're able to pressure him and then maybe start rattling a rookie quarterback. But if you're giving him basically a 7-on-7, he's going to show you what he can do. Legs and air. He's going to be a dangerous quarterback in the league for years to come.
That's it from us, folks. At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. We'll talk to you folks later. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube or any podcast platforms. We'll be back Wednesday for our Best Bets show, and also on Thursday with the Hackbag 201-834-4308. Call in, send us a question, whatever you're thinking on that day. Maybe you just miss us. You want to let us know. Talk to you folks later. Enjoy the rest of your night.